So the first thing just to know when we start class seated is that unless we're particularly sort of doing a class around dealing with discomfort, it's perfectly fine to change your position. If you're not comfortable sitting cross-legged like this, then sit up on a chair or change the legs to kneeling. Because our goal is for you to be able to relax and settle into the here and now. And if your body's really uncomfortable, that's not going to happen. So just start by closing your eyes down. Notice at first your lungs breathing. Notice them almost like two balloons, they fill up with air, expand. And then empty, deflate. And begin to notice, in particular, the bottom part of your lungs as they expand down. They move down towards the abdominal cavity. And what separates the two things, the lungs and the abdominal cavity, is this muscle called the diaphragm. And that it's quite reflexive. That you don't have to overly think about contracting the diaphragm, it just does its job of moving up and down, helping the filling and the emptying of the lungs. So we're going to begin our practice with 3 rounds of a breath exercise called Kapalabhati. If you know what Kapalabhati is, you can keep the eyes closed and just join in as we go. If you're unsure, feel free to open your eyes. We're going to do a practice round together. So Kapalabhati is a reflexive breath through the abdominals that uses a palpating of the abdominal cavity and that natural spring of the diaphragm to create a particular kind of breath. And what the breath does is really warm up our center and help us prepare for the practice. So take a pointer finger and just place it on your belly button. We'll do this a few times with the mouth open, then we'll close the mouth. So big breath in. As you breathe out, visualize the belly like a trampoline and spring the belly button straight back. Now keep doing that. And as you do that, you're not creating the inhale at all. You're trusting that the diaphragm will spring back and will naturally draw in air after that exhale. Now keep doing this. And just close your mouth. Now stop, let the hand rest. That's Kapalabhati. Kapalabhati. So we'll do 3 rounds of about 30 repetitions. If you need to go and blow your nose, that's fine. So close the eyes back down. Inhale, please. Kapalabhati, 30 repetitions. Breathe out. Repeat, breathe in. Navel back. Breathe out. Last round. Deep inhale. Breathe out. Please bring your hands into Anjali Mudra prayer at the heart. And we open the practice together with an Om. Inhale, please. Please peel your eyes open. Come to hands and knees, ready for cat-cow. So hands under shoulders, knees under hips. Good, take a nice big inhale, lift the tailbone, lift the heart, the eye gate. As you exhale, curl one under, look into your navel. Now keep repeating that. And as you repeat the cat-cow, give yourself permission if you'd like to sort of start to roll the head around, or maybe move the hips to different places. Just sort of taking stock of the spine. And now maybe notice if the shoulders need a little bit of a different direction. If you might want to sort of move more side to side in the shoulders. Just one more here like this. Then tuck your toes and please press back to downward facing dog. It's very common for us to see in downward facing dog a locking out of the knees that actually really curves the lower back. So what you're aiming for is the spine to be nice and long. And to help you achieve that, it's perfectly fine to soften the knees so that you can push back through the hip crease even more. Stay with that, please. Don't worry about the heels touching the mat in downward facing dog, it doesn't matter. Good, take one more breath in here like this. Stay as you breathe out. Now lift your heels up really high so your hips rise up higher in the air. Bend through the knees a little bit and swivel both your heels and your hips over towards the left side. Stay here. Your goal is to feel that the right hand pushes forward and away a lot, while the right hip draws back and away a lot. So you get a really big side bend there. Then come up through the center, lift the hips and heels really high. And do it to the other side. Bend the knees, drop the hips and heels over to the right. Push that left hand forward and away a lot. and draw the outer left hip away. One more breath here. And a breath out. We add on, come up really high with hips and heels. Again, swivel them over to the left. This time shift the right foot so it's kind of on top of the left foot. And see if you can keep the legs straighter as you push that right hand forward and away and draw the right hip back. Doesn't have to be perfect. Just starting to open up the side body. Other side, come up through the center, hips and heels really high. Swivel them over to the right side. Put the left foot on top of the right foot and try and keep the legs a little straighter as you draw left hip and left hand away from each other. Last breath. Return through the center. One more each side, hips and heels rise high again. Come back to the bent knee option as you swivel the hips over towards the left. Then shoot out into a side plank. It would be fine to put the knee down if you need that support. Hold it here for 3. Try and get both hip bones, both armpits facing forward for 2. Last big breath, stretch up more through the top hand. Find high plank first, get your shoulders safe. Then downward facing dog. Other side, hips and heels high. Bend the knees again, swivel the heels and the hips to the right. Shoot on out to side plank. Remember, it would be fine to put the bottom knee down if you need. Really stretch up through that top hand for 2. Last breath. High plank, get safe in your shoulders first, then downward facing dog. And walk your feet all the way to the top of the mat. Take them outside the shoulders and let yourself drape forward here. And this one's kind of similar to downward facing dog, where what we will often see is locked out legs and a really curved back. So you're better in that position to actually unlock the knees so you can get the stretch into the hamstring. And deepen into the hip crease, really let the spine relax forward. See if you can slow down the out breath here. And notice your attention, your focus, the sense of your concentration on the mat right now. How sharp is it? And if you feel a little blurry or lethargic, we call that a tamasic energy, a sense of a kind of dull energy. Choose to shift it. That's what asana practice is for. We want to move towards a bright, kind of luminous, focused energetics. And so if you feel tamasic, lethargic, unfocused, and then like you're tuning a pair of binoculars, choose to concentrate in on the here and now. Especially if you feel like you're kind of rushing forward, hanging out for the yin. It's a balance. We need both, the active and the passive. Stay here for 2 more breaths. Now please bend your knees. Roll slowly to standing, one vertebrae at a time. Reach up, take a big breath in. Soften knees, bow forward over the thighs as you breathe out. Come up halfway into a flat back here. This one is a little similar to down dog and our forward fold. This is another one where I tend to see really curved backs and hanging arms. So if that's happening in your body, your hands are either on the shin or on the mat. You're bending the knees a little bit so that you can lengthen out the spine, lots of spinal space. Take a nice big inhale here. Please plant your hands down and step back to a high plank. We're here for 5. And just catch this straight away. If you notice that there's a sense of sort of lethargy, of dullness to the mind, notice if it's resisting this shape. What can you do to bring heat, to bring clarity, to bring warmth to this beautiful shape that strengthens our core? Last breath. Put your knees down. Take the chest forward of the fingertips, but lower it only as low as the elbows. If your hips have dropped, lift them back up for a moment, please. Engage between the front hip bones. Roll the shoulders back, cobra pose. Downward facing dog, exhale. Take a breath in here slowly. Focus the mind like you're sharpening binoculars as you breathe out. Look forward, step, or maybe jump all the way up to your hands. Take that flat back and remember nice, long, spacious spine. Bow down, exhale. Rise up to standing, sweep up, take a big breath. Soften your knees, fold forward, exhale. Lengthen out, inhale. Step back to high plank. And again, use it for this beautiful, bright, core strengthening shape that it is. Take a breath in. You can put the knees down if you need, or again, chest lowers only as low as the elbows. Stretch the toes back to back bend. Downward facing dog. Breathe in. A full, long, stretched breath out. Top of your mat, step or lightly jump up. Halfway. Fold forward. Rise up, give more presence to the breath. Bow, notice the exhale. Half lift, feel the inhale. High plank to low plank, pace the exhale. Drawing a big inhale on that back bend. Downward facing dog. Breathe in. Fully and completely breathe out. Top of the mat, step or lightly jump. Halfway, inhale. Fold forward. Rise up. Bow forward, exhale. Halfway lift. Now step your right foot a long way back, big lunge. Walk around to the back foot and take an exhale to really settle right on in here. Hold it for 3. Allow yourself to really broaden out and open the inner thighs, but stay up and active in both legs. One more breath in here. Stay as you breathe out. Now back foot turns and really faces towards the side of the mat. Right foot turns and faces the top of the mat. Open on up into Trikonasana, please. Right leg straightens. fingertips prop inside the leg, and you feel that both hips peel open to the side of your mat, both armpits peel open to the side of the mat, but maybe you draw the heart up towards the top hand. You're here for 3. The experience here is a lot of length and stretch out through the legs, and a lot of length and stretch out through the waist and the spine. Last breath in. Please take this top hand behind your lower back. Perhaps the hand grabs the inner thigh. And you keep spiraling the heart up towards the sky, even as the hips point to the side of your mat. Breath in here. Look way forward of the top foot. Soften the knee. Stretch that top hand up and away, and lift the left leg up into half moon pose. You might stay here, try floating the bottom hand or bringing it up to the heart, and take a big breath in here. More activity through the toes as you breathe out. Step out and away, open up into a big A-frame. Now swap the feet, right foot towards the long side of your mat, left foot to the top, lengthen out through the waist, and take Trikonasana again. Hand can be on the shin, maybe on a block, or down on the mat if you've got the range. And again, hips to the side, armpits to the side, but keep spiraling the heart up towards the top hand. Can you create more length through both sides of the waist? More length through both inner thighs, really stretch out. Top hand behind your back, perhaps hold the inner thigh. Stay here as you breathe in. Look an inch forward, a couple of feet forward of that front foot. Now bend the left leg, step the top hand up, half moon pose. Stay, perhaps float the hand, perhaps bring the hand to the heart. Last breath. Please release both hands down and come into a low lunge. High plank inhale. Chaturanga exhale. Back bend, squeeze like you're squeezing something in your armpits. Downward facing dog. Lift your hips, breathe in. Look forward, step or jump top of the mat. Halfway. Bow forward. Rise up, stretch up, one big breath. Fold on down, exhale. Halfway lift. Left leg this time takes a big lunge. Walk around to the back leg. Now settle in low. Left foot to short side, right foot to long side. Trikonasana, open up. Hand behind the back. Look forward, half moon pose, inhale, lift the leg. Step out into an A-frame, exhale. Change the feet back to the top of the mat, inhale. Interlace behind the back, exhale. Look forward, half moon pose, inhale. Low lunge, exhale. High plank to chaturanga. Back bend, inhale. Downward facing dog. Top of the mat, step or jump. Halfway lift, breath in. Bow forward, breathe out. Rise up, reach up. Long exhale. Half lift. Right foot, big lunge. Breathe in, go to the back foot. Lunge in deeper. Trikonasana, inhale. Hand behind the back. Look forward, half moon, step up, breath in. A shape, breathe out. Change the feet to the top of the mat, Trikonasana, inhale. Hand behind the back. Half moon pose, step up, that's your breath in. Low lunge is a breath out. High plank, inhale. Chaturanga. Squeeze the armpits, draw up. Down dog. Top of the mat, straight away, step or jump, one more round, halfway. Bow deeply. Rise up, stretch up. Fold forward. Half left, lots of space. Left leg, big lunge back. Walk around to the back foot, settle on in. Trikonasana, triangle, open up. Hand behind your back. Half moon, step up. Step one out to your A-frame. Back to Trikonasana. Hand behind the back. Half moon, step up. Low lunge. High plank. Chaturanga. Armpits squeeze. Downward facing dog. Breathe in. Fully and completely breathe out. Top of the mat, step or lightly jump. Halfway, inhale. Fold forward. Rise up. Sit deeply, chair pose. Now our eye gaze is nice and sharp and focused. Notice if your eye gaze is darting around. You feel a deep sense of engagement in the lower belly, and we sit right down into the thighs. Take a breath in. Sit even deeper. Now rise on up to your tippy toes here and turn the knees out wide. Bring the hands down inside to the thighs and just lean forward until either the knees are on the back of the triceps or the outer arms. Now you might stay here, that's fine. Our goal is to build endurance wherever we are. Just notice if you've completely left the pose. Be in some version of it. If you know full crow, please lift the feet for 3, for 2, last breath. Everybody feet to the edges of the mat. Come down into Malasana, our yogi squat. Eye gaze steady. And just notice the energetics. Has my mind skipped forward, raced ahead? Am I here in the here and now? Two more breaths. Please press the hands into each other a lot. Hug the inner thighs in, so you've got this little bit of a hugging of the hands and the knees to the midline. Use that to help you rise all the way up to standing. Step the feet back together and sit back down into chair pose. And it's a real opportunity here to notice Is my mind truly here and now? Is it in the past? Like, oh God, we've already done this pose. Is it in the future? Or is it here? Lift the heels, take the knees out wide, hands down inside the thighs and take crow pose. Now, toes down is crow pose. Rocking back and forth is crow pose. Having a look, it's not really crow pose. So try some version of it for 3. For 2. The now. That's all we've got. Feet to the edges of the mat. Again, sit down into Malasana, our yogi squat. And you might close the eyes this time. Just to notice what's going on for me. Press the hands a little firmer. Hug the knees in a little tighter as you again rise to standing. Reach up, step the feet together, inhale. Bow forward, exhale. Halfway lift, elongate that spine. High plank to low plank. Either on knees or stretch the toes back. Downward facing dog. Lift your right leg behind you, please. And lightly step it all the way up to the hands. Now, if it doesn't make it, rather than that being your lunge, keep helping the foot forward. It's a really nice stretch for the legs to take a long lunge. Then reach up, inhale, please. Eye gaze steady. Relax the jaw, relax the shoulders. One more breath here. Lean forward, spring the back foot off and stretch the hands back and away. For 5. Now notice if anywhere feels a little kind of dull or heavy in the body. How do the fingertips feel? How can you spark them up, bring them to brightness? How about the toes? What about the core? What about your determination? Last breath. Step all the way back up. Reach back up into your big lunge. But this time bring the elbows out wide, palms facing forward, so they kind of look like that. Hold it here. Notice if your right butt cheeks kind of sat out to the side. Hug it back into the center of the mat and sit it forward. Now, keep the hips facing forward and just feel that the sternum, like a torch, begins to creep up the wall until it's pointing to the corner above you. A little bit of a back bend here. Hold it here for 3. Feel a little bit of a squeeze, like a wrapping of ribs to hips so we don't collapse the lower back for 2. Last breath, sit deeper into that right thigh. Then hands to prayer. Tip forward. Left elbow past right knee, take a twist. Your goal here is to get the thumbs and the sternum to line up so that the twist comes from the upper back more than it comes from the lower back. Stay here. Really cultivate elbow pressing into knee, knee pressing into elbow. That's going to act like a second core for you. Now put all of your weight on your right foot and step your left foot up to the top of the mat. So you're in a chair twist. for 5, for 4. This is your opportunity, if you've been feeling dull, if you've been feeling a little stagnant, to spark up and move to clarity before we kind of just switch off. Last one. Please fold forward. Take the feet out to shoulder distance and just kind of shake your body side to side. Notice how you feel. Notice the level of determination you've brought to the practice, the level of focus. Then please slowly roll all the way to standing. Reach up, inhale. Fold forward, exhale. Halfway lift. High plank to chaturanga. Back bend. Downward facing dog. Left leg rises behind you. Please lunge forward. Crescent lunge, reach up. It's quite common here for us to feel overactive in the shoulders, like they're really shrugged and elevated, and kind of a bit underactive in the back leg. So keep the fingertips bright, but relax the shoulders. And then power up the back leg. Feel it really strong there. Sit a little deeper into the front thigh, breathe in. Warrior 3, stretch on out. Lift that back leg behind you. Notice the balance here. I can give you moves, but whether you've brought determination, vibrancy, brightness to the practice is a question you've got to ask yourself. Last breath. Step back, reach up, inhale. Bend those elbows again so they're out wide. Then keep that, keep the hips facing forward, a nice lunge in the left thigh. As you start to roll the sternum higher, like you've got this laser light rising up the wall to the top corner of the room in front of you. If your lower back has collapsed, it probably means that there's no abdominal connection. Ribs to hips engage a little. Lift the ribs up off the waist. 2 more breaths. Last one. Hands into prayer, please. Lean forward. Right elbow past left thigh. Thumb towards the heart. And there's this reflection here. How am I showing up within this framework? Within the framework of these moves, of the shapes we're doing, how am I actually showing up? What's the energetics I'm giving to it? Last breath. All of the weight on the left foot. Step the back foot up. So you're in a squat with a twist. And it's a common question, we always think, what am I going to get from it? What am I going to get from it? What energy is it going to give? How calm's the practice going to make me feel? Well, the question actually is, what are you giving to the practice? Because it can only give back the same amount that you're giving to it. 2 more breaths. Last one. Please fold forward. Take the feet outside the shoulders. And this time be still. Flip the equation. Instead of asking, what will the practice give me? What am I giving to the practice? Because you're really asking, what am I giving to myself? How am I showing up for myself right now? Is it with determination, with brightness, with focus, with concentration? Am I giving myself those things? Or is there an element of checking out, rushing ahead, wanting to switch off? What's happening for me? Please step back to downward facing dog. Look forward at your hands and gently place your elbows down on the mat. Now it's very common here for me to see people's thumbs and pointer fingers lift. So I'd like you to look at your thumb and your pointer finger and make sure that they're really plugged down into the mat. If they start lifting, can you please put the knees down? Because it means your shoulders are no longer supported. So do that. Have a look, make sure thumbs and pointer fingers are really switched into the mat. Now feel like you've got either a marble or a piece of paper in your armpit, or maybe a tennis ball in your armpit, and you're trying to squash it and hold it there. You don't want to drop it. Keep that. Start to walk the feet forward. It's fine if the knees bend until the shoulders are over the wrists. We're here building strength for 5. For 4. What are you giving to your practice? Squeeze something in the armpits. Check thumb and pointer finger it down. One more breath. Please place the knees. Take the toes together. Turn your palms to face up and let your eyebrows rest. Okay, same shape, we've got a few options this time. Return to downward facing dog, please. Put your elbows down so your forearms are on the mat. Have a look, make sure the thumbs and the pointer fingers are really active. And again, feel like you're squashing something in your armpits. Try and sort of squeeze the elbows back towards the waist almost. Your head stays off the mat. If your head touches the earth or your thumb and pointer finger lift, please put the knees down. Walk the feet closer towards the elbows so the hips come higher over the elbows. Then try and lift one leg. And we're here for 3 with the one leg. If you're still on 2 legs, don't rush it. You've got quite a few breaths. Squeeze something in the armpit, head off the mat. Thumb and pointer finger down. If you've got the legs, swap legs please. For 3. Thumb and pointer finger, armpits for 2. One more. Place the foot. Come back to child's pose. Knees wide this time. And slide the left hand underneath the right armpit for a twist. Can I give to the practice as much as I ask the practice to give to me? That there's an effort on our end, a dedication, a vibrancy on our end. Please change the twist to the other side. Please make your way onto your back. Take the legs up into the air. Cross the right leg over the left so you're cross-legged. And then you're going to reach up, either grab the big toes, the little toes or the outside of the feet, and start to pull the heels down to the hips. Now this might be enough. Or if you like, you can actually bring the feet a little higher and up towards the armpits instead for a deeper hip rotation. Just close the eyes. Focus the out breath, slow it down. Please gently unwind, change sides. Left leg over right. Reach on up, hold those feet. Draw them down to the hips. Or if there's range, bring it up to the armpits instead. Please gently unwind. And just take a few movements to finish off your practice, maybe a twist to each side. Maybe a happy baby pose. Reach up, back of the knees or soles of the feet. Then as you're ready, please unwind and support yourself for Shavasana. Feet at hip distance, palms up. If you need to bend the knees, that's fine. If you need to put a cushion under the knees, that's fine. Close the eyes. In reality, each breath is a give and take between you and this world, this atmosphere that we live in, this crossing over of oxygen and carbon dioxide. And there's this idea in yoga, especially in these styles of yoga where we move the physical body, and that forms part of our practice, as well as self-awareness and concentration, but we move our physical body. There's this idea that the universe, it wants the best for you. But it will only show you what you can handle. And so in order for us to gain more, be given more through this practice of yoga, to have more clarity, more tranquility, more stillness, if you desire more spiritual experiences, more of those, then we at first need to show the practice through our own giving that we can handle it. And so it's still this give and take. If you want more, you also need to give more. What's that balance like in your practice at the moment? And how can this concept take a bit of a pressure off that you have to do, take, achieve. Like, how can you just give full breath, full presence, dedication, concentration. The gifts that would be huge for the people you love, the people you care about, are also huge in the practice of yoga. Be here, be still, concentrate. Please bring your palms calmly into Anjali Mudra prayer. And Om to close our practice. Inhale.